Hi, so I wanted to talk about this book that I got from the library called Outliers. And I wanted to talk about it in relation to. Okay, so now this video is going to be audio only. And so I wanted to talk about it in relation to the event that I just went to. So, firstly, the book Outliers is just about how success is based on your environment, your culture, and a lot of factors that are outside of your control. And I wanted to add one, a lot of his points are perfect, and I liked his examples and everything. There's like a summary that somebody posted on Goodreads too. And like he has 7 chapters that just discuss, I want to say, 7 different aspects of the environment and just like the time you were born, the culture you were born into, and how all of that shapes how you view success. So, one thing he put is working. Cultures that know hard work equals better outcome, they end up being more successful. But it's like, who's to say what hard work gives you a better outcome? Well, it was easy to know, for example, for the Chinese when they were growing rice paddies, because they could physically see the rice paddies make more rice, right? Like they water it the right way, they level it off the right way, and then they get a great product. But then there's other jobs like working at a factory, right? Where you just do the same thing over and over and you don't see the smiles on people's faces when they have your product. You don't see yourself making more money. You just see, I'm at this factory, I'm pushing buttons, I'm doing the same thing every day, and the work is meaningless, you know? So I just feel like it's strange how there's certain industries that are doing better than others. And I get how that's happening, but I also just am like, how do you know what industry to get into? Because it's like life isn't as straightforward as agriculture is. But even when it is, it's like with our land, which he even writes about in the book, like with our soil, you can work it and then it won't produce anymore. Whereas with Japanese, Chinese way of growing rice, the Asian way, they know, hey, we'll keep on doing it and we'll keep on having a lot of rice production. And to me, it's just like, yeah, they were lucky. They were lucky they found that method of like creating food. And then they also translate that to mathematics and success in other places. Because again, a lot of people who have successful families that worked hard and did business and stuff, started their own business, they end up being more and more successful. And he even gets into that as well, like how with Jewish families, the ones who own garment stores, clothing stores, they end up making their kids into lawyers and doctors and like high end professional, what I know as successful occupations, high socioeconomic status level occupations. And then they also teach their kids communication skills, which, again, communication, I feel like we all communicate. It's just some people cannot interpret how one communicates. So we just have this standard of this is how you communicate being angry. This is how you have to communicate being sad. This is how you communicate your surprise. This is how your voice should sound if you're angry, if you're authoritative, stuff like that. I feel like it's just made up just as a way to like help us communicate better. But I really think we all have our own ways of communicating things, but we have to like standardize it so that when we work with other people, they know exactly what I mean. Which is what he describes in his book when he's talking about pilots and how airplanes crash and how a lot of them were crashing in Korea and places like Colombia because people didn't feel safe communicating themselves to their captain. Because they're like, I'm a lowly member of the team. I'm not allowed to talk up to a captain. We're not equals. Whereas places like America, the American white pilots, I'm pretty sure they were like majority white men. They were like, you know what? I feel like an equal. I can tell my captain when something goes wrong. And so, yeah, again, communication is really important. Um, but it's also just like verbal communication that is not beating around the bush. That's very much like, this is what I mean. I mean what I say. And I struggle with that. So, connecting back to me. I went to a event that was supposed to be for girls volleyball, and I felt like, oh yay, I could learn about the sport and I could maybe want to join like their volleyball team outside of this bar. But it was more like a volleyball tournament, and it was for people to me who just already had the body for it, already knew volleyball, already had friends, and already knew the rules. And what made me like uncomfortable was the fact that of the 8 players on the teams, like, well, 8 players, no one was that friendly. Like, no one looked at me, waved at me, and said hi, like, at all. And it wasn't like a lot of people turned out. It was like someone, 2 women's husband, and then one woman's like mom or friend or older woman, something like that. So, like, 4 people to watch, and then like 8 players. And yeah, well, not 8, but 8, 9, 10, probably like 10 players, really. And I just thought it was strange because I'm just like, wow, everywhere I go, well, usually the rule should be, hey, you have to wave at someone within 30 seconds of them entering. And then when I went to the bar, I even asked the girl to give me ranch with my fries, and she never even did it. And I'm just like, that is such a simple request for ranch dressing with fries, guys. Anyway, um, I just didn't feel comfortable even being in the space as usual. And I just wish that things were more friendly, like in the movies, when I would see people going into bars and they know the bartender, and the bartender listens to them talk about their problems, and then the other people at the bar are listening to them, kind of like in The Simpsons, where they just have that place to go, and like it's a nice space to talk about life and stuff. But in real life, that's not the case, and it just seems so sad and like isolating and weird. But as I was saying, it's like a lot of people, they already have their friends in their community that they understand. And then when I show up to like anything, I just feel like I'm outside of that community. And I've always been this way ever since, like, I want to say 3rd grade, when my teacher like locked me, well, didn't lock me, but she left the class and I was in like a dark classroom all by myself and just started crying, and she didn't care. And so, yeah, none of the my classmates cared either. Like, everyone just forgot me. And it was probably like the first day of school or first within a week of school, but like, yeah, it used to be that if you are left behind, like, someone notices you and someone cares, but now it's just like, who cares who that kid is? Who cares about being her friend, whatever. And yeah, at a young age, I kind of just knew a lot of people don't care about me. And yeah, I carried that with me for a long time, and even now, wherever I go, I just realize like there's not a lot of people like me. And even being someone who's popular, being someone who's a leader, that just depends on the circumstances of your birth, you know? And what family you were born into, how welcomed you are. Like, there are so many clubs and people who like talk about things, and I just can never understand their jokes, you know? I'll never understand how they get to have a group of like 10 friends to go out with, and I can't even get one person to care about me. And it's just like, I know I was not born to be successful. And it's just crazy how I can definitely confirm that. And with this book, it did like kind of help me feel better about myself, cuz it's like a lot of things are out of my control. And the people who are like me are just hard to find. Like, there's no clubs, like there's no book clubs. really, for people like me. But there's golf tournaments and what else do they do? Like pickleball, volleyball, like I said. There's things for like businesses. There's events for like sports, people who love sports, of course. Um, I see like events like that getting packed out, but then for people who like quieter things and stuff like that, it's just like no one there. No one cares. And yeah. I really like the book and I like the points that he brought up.